like when you leave Canada and cease to become a tax resident of Canada, there is a deemed disposition of all your assets, and you
Yeah.
have to pay tax on them.
So are you kind of licking your chops and looking at this condo market here in Toronto and waiting for opportunities, or other than Belize, like why do you even live in Toronto actually? There's
Well, that's a very good question.
Don't say healthcare.
there's so many questions in that one.
Don't say healthcare, Alistair.
No, I'm going to say it's even worse than that. I still maintain
Worse.
residence in Toronto because I made a lot of money and I have assets out of the country. Were I to give up my Canadian tax residency, I would be hit with a departure tax or a deemed disposition of all my assets and capital gains on whatever that disposition.
That's a good thing to bring up right now. The capital gains tax.
And is that, well, before he says that, the disposition tax is going to be based on the size of the assets.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, but
Right.
like when you leave Canada and cease to become a tax resident of Canada, there is a deemed disposition of all your assets, and you
Yeah.
have to pay tax on them. So, yeah.
So based on whatever deemed disposition, meaning, you know, you got $10 million, you bought it all for 5, they'll say, hey, you've got 66% of that $5 million gain after June 25th is going to be subject to taxes, and you got to pay out that tax, correct?
Yeah.
Even if you don't sell the assets, you got to pay out that tax when you leave.
Yeah, exactly. And you can post security and do it anyway, which is something I've been considering. Like you can post that instead of actually paying the departure tax, you can post security for the departure tax. But I'm fortunate in that I have really good accountants, and I'm leaving that with them. But for the time being, I'm
Trapped.
Here.
The word is trapped. Alistair.
Trapped. Yeah, join the club. It seems
They
like
gotcha.
if you're over 40 now, you're trapped here, especially if you have kids. Well, so that's interesting. So hold on. In 1990 or 89, when you got started, how old were you at that point? I guess you must have been 20 something, late 20s.
Yeah.
So how the hell did you know that, like, and like, how did you have the courage to actually buy in that mess? Right? Because most people, even though they know that you're supposed to, you know, buy when people are dying and, you know, stay, just like you said before, even though you know it, it's very hard for people to actually implement this and then find a group of bandits willing to invest with them to do it.
I didn't. I was working for a merchant bank, and I got offered a position there working for like $400 a week as an apprentice to the guy who ran the bank and whatnot. And my job was to do distressed acquisitions of properties and whatever. But at that time, even though we could buy, there were distressed properties coming out of our ears, right? But you couldn't sell real estate in Ontario to anybody. Like if you said you were selling an investment that was based on Ontario real estate, it would be like throw you out of the office, right? Because it was very much like Florida in 2011, where oh no, I'm not going to touch real estate. This stuff is toxic.
And can you draw any comparisons to our current market, or do you feel that they're different?
I think it's the exact opposite. Here, we still haven't come to, there hasn't been a capitulation here. Here, real estate is seen as not something that's utilitarian, but rather as a financialized asset. And it's the only thing everybody wants to invest in. That still hasn't diminished. Maybe, and the government, you know, I mean, when you have the government coming out and saying, we will protect your house value, and Trudeau has said in the past that, you know, your house is your rainy day fund, your savings program, your retirement fund, all of this type of thing, and the government will not let you lose money on it. It's no surprise that people have bid it up to this extent. And it's also, frankly, a means whereby people at the end of a long-term debt cycle, people can access government money from their house to invest in other things, etc., at you know, near bank rate type financing. So it's entirely financialized. And when the market, if you were to allow people to lose money on these things, and you didn't offer 99-year amortizations on mortgages and whatnot, it would not only bring, you know, it might encourage people to realize that you can lose money by just consistently investing in a leveraged play until, you know, but if the government's not gonna let you lose any money from investing and just leveraging your brains out, then why would you, you know?
Change up your strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you got anything from one of these clips. And if you want to see some more, press something on the screen here. Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.